So I'm Sindhukavi. I'm right now Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. I cleared the UPSC Civil Service examination from the 2019 batch, which ranked 504. And last month I had a session on how to be preparing a general strategy with respect to preparation for UPSC. And today, since my option is Sociology, I will be sharing specific things about the strategy. I wouldn't term it a strategy, but whatever I did, I would like to share it with you. Whatever you feel that might suit you, you can take it from it. So I will give an overview about what to read, how to read, and general things about note making and how you can incorporate current affairs in your sociology answers and all that. So if anybody has any questions, you can share it with me now. I will be seeing the live chat and I will be answering the question. I have prepared certain things to be discussed today. I have a flow about how to go about, and but generally I prefer taking questions so that I can address it then and there, and then I will be sharing whatever I want to share. So is there any questions? Good morning. Okay, so okay, fine. So now I think that I will start with my whatever I want to say, and then once khatam hone ke baad, whatever you want to ask, you can ask, so that there will be some organized structure as to how we are proceeding. Okay. So first, with respect to sociology, I will be sharing the books, the notes that I referred. So I basically I attended classes for sociology from Chennai. So I'm from Chennai, so I did my classes from Chennai. So basically I relied on making my own notes from the class, and after class, I used to attend during the times of giving mains. I attended test sessions of sociology, and after every test session there used to be an answer discussion session in the class. So I used to take notes of it. Then I used to refine those notes, and whatever notes I made in my class, and what I'm saying is at the time of preparation, and whatever notes I've made out of the test batch. So I used to combine it together and I used to prepare the answers. So that is how I made my own notes. For example, I will show you. So this is my notebook, this is my notebook for taking notes. What I did is I used to write it in sheets. I used to write in class in sheets. And not during class, I don't mean the usual class, but I mean usual class I used to take notes in notebooks, and during test I used to take notes in sheets, and then I used to combine everything. I used to write in A4 sheets like this and get it spiral bound. So this might be a very silly thing, but why I am showing this specifically is note making is very important. For example, you may not know in which attempt you will be clearing UPSC. Some people may clear it in first attempt, second attempt, third attempt. It may take time for all of us, right? So I cleared in my fifth attempt. So if you want to refer your notes year after year, there should be a proper format. Okay, there should be a proper thing which you can refer. So and one more thing I would say, if I'm showing you notes like this, so don't say that okay madam, upload the notes. I cannot be uploading everything, not in any topper upload. I can. So one thing I would say is that this is just an idea for you to get your own notes. So like this, whatever I said, say taking notes in your class and then taking notes in your test batch and combining the notes. And for every topic you come, for example, if how modernity led to sociology, I would have taken some classes in notes, right? Then I would have taken notes in my test batch. So I will combine that in an A4 sheet, and then I will arrive at a final answer. So that is how I have 5-6 notebooks like this for every chapter that I made. So I would suggest you to make notes like this. Don't rely on any topper's notes. Topper's notes can always be a reference, but then notes is like, again, I would say it's like a love letter. So only you know the feeling with what you write and why you write a certain thing. So if you study other people's notes, for me personally, I don't feel that will be helpful. I can take it as a reference, to see how to generally go about, but I would suggest people to take their own notes. So first is with respect to note making. So, and I do not refer too many materials to do answer writing. One book I would suggest is Nityan Sangwan. I will show the book. So the Essential Sociology by Nityan Sangwan. So this was the book that I referred. This is mainly the thing. So the book I have mentioned, and I feel that it is important to restrict yourself to very limited resources, but study that very thoroughly. So book I said, and how do I make notes, I said that. And yes, uh, first I would start with the syllabus. So when it comes to option, not just in sociology but anywhere, I think you should first of all get an idea about the syllabus. You cannot take random things, and you cannot fit everything everywhere. So be thorough with the syllabus. And so first, our syllabus, you have paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1, if you're thorough with paper 1, I think somehow you can manage paper 2, because paper 1 is the theory part, which talks about different thinkers, the concepts surrounding the origin of sociology, how the different institutions in the society like religion, family, marriage, caste, how they came into existence, and what are the different theories surrounding it, and what are the different thinkers told about it. So once you are thorough with that, you can always incorporate or apply that in your second part. Second part is mostly incorporating the current affairs along with linking the thinkers part, right? So I would like to coming to the first chapter. I won't go every chapter. 20 chapters are there. I cannot be covering 20 chapters. But initially, 1 or 2 chapters, I can tell you how to read and how to prepare your notes, and how to do the answer writing, so that you can apply the same strategy for all the rest of the things. So first chapter is about sociology, right? Sociology is the discipline. So the main things that is getting covered in the first chapter is the origin of sociology, how it is originated. Mainly there are 3 things. If you read the syllabus, it might be very it might look very difficult, but it is very basic thing, how modernity led to the evolution of sociology. So for every chapter, I would say understand the crux in 1 or 2 lines, and then if you start delivering your answers, then you will be able to do it. So what is the first chapter? Sociology, the discipline, means how it is originated, what led to the origin of sociology, and how is it compared with the other subjects, how is it very distinguished, very different from the other subjects. So that is the crux of it. So the first chapter, I would say, mainly if they ask you, everything will surround be surrounding only together. It will be around only one single thing, how it led to the origin of sociology, how modernity led to the origin of sociology. So there you can split modernity into 2 different factors. Let's say like how the Renaissance or the intellectual revolution led to the emergence of sociology, or your industrial revolution led to the origin of sociology, or your American and the French revolution led to sociology. So this is how you can talk about the origin of sociology. And then when you come and compare it with different subjects, they themselves have given sociology and economics, sociology and psychology, and history, political science, and anthropology. So first, I will give an idea about one question I will take. Say Renaissance I will take. So how do we go? How do we understand the concept? This is just with one question. If I tell you, you can apply the same strategy with the other things also. So Renaissance and sociology, if you see. So for every question, I would prefer you to have a template while making answer writing, or even to make notes. I would suggest you to have a template. I have made a template here, which I will be sharing asking the admin to share in the page also. But this is the general template that I made. So if you can take a screenshot of it, it will be helpful, and I will read it out also to you. Okay. So first one is the introduction. So whatever introduction is given in the question, you will not repeat the same line, but it will be a crispy introduction with 2-3 things. Okay. And the second one will be the definition of the concept. For example, I will be explaining it with example. So the second thing will be definition of concept, and third thing will be the discussion of concept. And in the middle, after that, while you start discussing the concept, you will be incorporating many flowcharts, many diagrams in it based on the requirement of the question. And then problems are the advantages surrounding that concept, the criticism of the concept mainly. So when you bring in the criticism, you will be incorporating various thinkers. And when you talk about thinkers, you cannot, to have a organized way, split the thinkers into positivists, split the thinkers into non-positivists, and then other thinkers. And then conclusion. Before the conclusion, why are you concluding in a certain way? That is the reasoning for the conclusion. So this is how I phrased it. First is the introduction, second is the definition of the concept, third is the discussion of the concept, fourth is any flow chart or the diagram, fifth is the thinkers, incorporating how the thinkers have commented or criticized that particular concept, and then it's the pre-conclusion, which means that the reasoning that you give to arrive at a particular conclusion, and then it's the conclusion. Okay, so let me just discuss this Renaissance question with you so that you get an idea about what I'm saying. So assume that how the question is about how intellectual revolution or the Renaissance led to the emergence of sociology. So I'm giving an introduction now, saying that sociology is an outcome of modern society, or sociology is the brainchild of modern society that emerged in the 19th century in Europe. So this will be a first sentence, which will be the kind of introduction. Okay. Then what is the question about? It is about intellectual background or the Renaissance, right? So that my introductory part is over. So now you will come to the second part, or the definition of the concept, which is Renaissance. You can try to keep the definition simple, but not very. It's not like Renaissance is revolution. It's not like that. Try to phrase it in 2 or 3 sentences. It should be catchy also, but at the same time it should be simple also. For example, I have written, Renaissance is the war of thoughts between religion and scientific knowledge. And it's the contradictory comparison between religion and spiritual knowledge and scientific knowledge. So this is the definition that I've taken for Renaissance. So first, as I said, I've used an introductory part saying sociology is a brainchild of modern society that emerged in the 19th century. And after that, I've taken the definition of Renaissance, saying it is the contradictory comparison between science and religion, or the war of thoughts between religion and science. Okay. Now, then I'm comparing to the body of the question. So now you will be comparing religious knowledge and scientific knowledge. So you will first talk about religious knowledge. Say the religious knowledge lacked empirical proof and evidence, and it had spread beliefs that God created the earth. The seasonal changes led to the changes of the seasons, and epidemics was a result of God's anger. So these are all beliefs that the religion has taught. But on the other hand, scientific knowledge says that all these assumptions are fallible. It just says that earth is a result of the cosmological events and seasonal changes are due to the revolution. So now I'm comparing science and religion. I'm first quoting religion, what the religion says, and then I'm coming back to science and saying how science contradicts with the religion. So scientific knowledge helps in predicting the events and controlling the events that are around us. Now I'm trying to say how scientific knowledge is superior to the religious knowledge. So the scientific knowledge, which was rational, invalidated all the beliefs that the religious knowledge had spread, and it was spread through pamphlets, journals, and also by creating new institutions. So first I have given an introduction, then I've given a definition, then I've spoken what the religious knowledge says, and then I'm saying what science says, then I'm saying how science is superior over religion, and finally I'm going to give the reasoning as to why I feel that science is superior over the religious knowledge that was spread. The scientific knowledge brought in new institutions. So when the new institutions were brought in, there were many changes. So changes led to a lot of confusion, and the confusion was to be studied and to be given a solution. So sociology was a solution to the confusion which was created by new institutions and the new knowledge which was spread by science. So sociology thus emerged as a new discipline to offer solutions to the new set of problems in the modern society. So I am concluding this with the words that it was a new discipline to offer solution to the new set of problems in the modern society. So this is a structure which I was trying to show in the notebook, and this is just not an entire answer, but a kind of a model answer to get an idea. So secondly, I will tell about the same chapter I am taking, but one more question. Say if they ask on the whole about how modernity led to the emergence of sociology, you have to incorporate Industrial Revolution, French Revolution, American Revolution, and also Renaissance. So if I spoke about Renaissance alone so much, now that the content of the question is too much, because you have to talk about 3-4 things, you will have to condense everything into a single paragraph rather than discussing everything. It has to be crisp. So just a minute, I will just share about it. So I'm starting with an introduction saying sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in Europe in the 19th century, and Europe because Europe saw the emergence of the modern society in the 19th century. This is the introduction. And then body. The modernity was in every sphere, from political, social, and economic. So I'm just giving a dimensions of modernity, with its social, economic, and political. So when it comes to intellectual modernity, it's Renaissance. Political modernity is the American, the French Revolution. Economic modernity is the Industrial Revolution. So I'm giving the different dimensions of modernity. Then I'm starting to address every dimension of modernity. First, I'll take Renaissance. You will repeat whatever I said in the previous question. Okay. Then coming to the Industrial Revolution. So Industrial Revolution, you will say that there was a scientific breakthrough with the advance of science. So trade started flourishing. So urbanization started developing. So migration started happening. Guild system developed. Production increased. Factory system came into picture. Capitalism emerged. When capitalism emerged, exploitation also emerged. So as a result to the exploitation, as a solution to the exploitation and to overcome the exploitation faced by the industrial workers, sociology emerged as a distinct discipline. So the same is the case with French Revolution and the American Revolution. You will give an kind of 1 or 2 paragraphs about it. So when you discuss about all these 3 things, there is a chance of incorporating diagrams also in the middle. For example, I was mentioning about Industrial Revolution, right? So you can mention diagrams like this. So first I am saying that in the boxes, I am saying that scientific breakthrough, then another box flourishing of trade, then another box urbanization, then another box migration, guild system, mass production, factory system. So what happens is that when I personally feel that when you start incorporating diagrams like this, it is easy for the examiner also to get an idea about what you are actually trying to say. Instead of writing in paragraph, this will be a bit attractive also. So, and then the final paragraph you will be saying the above changes were modern in nature, and it was a point of debate between enlightened people who supported modernity and conservatives who opposed modernity. So the fertilization of different thoughts led to the emergence of sociology as a different distinguished discipline. So this is the way how you so this is just not answer writing, this is about how you understand the concept. Even if you are reading it for the first time, this is how you should process in your mind. Okay, this is the concept, this is the crux, this is the body, this is the criticism, this is the criticism said by a particular thinker, and so what? The pre-conclusion part where you are arriving at a rationale and then the conclusion. Okay, and now coming to the comparison part. So when you're trying to compare different things like sociology and history, sociology and political science, generally this is not a very neat, but I'll still show you the way to make notes. So I have made 2 partition like this. One is sociology and one is political science. So I'm just making a rough note of it in hints to understand so that I can read. For example, science, sociology I'm writing science of the society, political science and science of the government. Sociology has a wide scope, whereas it has a limited scope. Sociology is applicable even in an organized society, even in an unorganized society. But political science is applicable only in an organized society because the government has a specified structure. So you can distinguish points like this for different subjects. I just told it as an example for political science. The same can be done for economics, history, and the other thing when you want to compare sociology with different dimensions. Okay. So this is the general pattern as to how you should be proceeding with every chapter. And coming to the main things, I will talk about studying thinkers. I may not be able to discuss about every thinker, but generally how to go about with the thinkers, because thinkers are generally considered to be very important in sociology, and sometimes it's considered to be the most difficult part, but it's all about understanding. So whenever you take a thinker, say Marx or Durkheim or Weber or whoever it be, instead of reading, before reading, I'm saying first understand what are the theories that you are going to study which has been propounded by them. For example, when it comes to Emile Durkheim, what you will study division of labor, you will study suicide, then you will study social facts. So enlist everything that you're going to study under a particular thinker. So once you do that, what is the thinker trying to say overall? In one paragraph, you should be able to understand what is the thinker's agenda. I would not say agenda, but what is the thinker's point of view on the whole. For example, positivists will always want to study society in a very scientific way. They will try to interpret the things happening around them very objectively, whereas non-positivists will try to interpret it very subjectively, and they will give importance to values. So when you study non-positivist, you have to remember, say Weber, you have to remember that it's all about subjective study and interpretation. When you study positivist, it's also always about interpreting it very objectively. So that should be you have to remember what type of thinker he is, whether he is a positivist, whether he wants to study objectively, or a non-positivist who wants to go more for interpretation. So analyze the logic behind the thinker. And generally I would say in any book you take, you will be getting about the background of the thinker also. For example, when you study about Marx, you will understand that he was living in a certain society, and the conditions in his own society made him to think about the society and made him a thinker like this. So just get a fair idea about the background of the thinker also, so that you will understand why the thinker is said in a certain way. So that is one thing. For example, I will say, when you study Durkheim, when you study Durkheim, the entire thing can be summarized in single paragraphs. He is a positivist. So he says mind is not individualistic, but it is a product of the collective conscience of the society. Though collective conscience is a subjective thing, with the application of sociology, you have to read it objectively. So this is the crux of what Durkheim said, and this is how this is the crux for which, based on which he has applied the theories to different situations. For example, same Durkheim thing I will talk about. He says mind is not individualistic, it's a product of your collective conscience. So the same thing is applicable when it comes to suicide. Because suicide and social facts have different dimensions, the economic dimension, the political dimension, the sociological dimension. But Durkheim has taken a social fact like suicide and tried to see the sociological dimension of suicide. For example, when it comes to suicide, let me explain it with an example so that you get an idea. Yes. So when you see Durkheim, I will just tell you how to read about the thinker. Emile Durkheim, a positivist, wanted a scientific study of the society and wanted sociology to have an independent subject matter. Therefore, he proposed social fact to be the subject matter. So this will be introduction. Irrespective of whatever you write about Durkheim, whether be it division of labor, be it suicide, this is the introduction about the thinker and why he views certain things in a sociological dimension. And according to him, reality is multidimensional and multifaceted, but as a sociologist, we should try on the social aspect of reality. So this is one thing. So Durkheim defined suicide. How is he defining? As I said, there's a structure, right? First you will give an introduction, then you will come to the definition part. Suicide are all cases of death caused by positive and negative act of individual victims who knows the consequence of their act. This is Durkheim's definition. Then coming to the body. So he selected 26,000 cases spanning from 1840 to 1870 and explained the rules of explanation. And as explained in the rules of explanation, he started analyzing the cause behind suicide. He took certain subjects like French army officers who committed suicide, and then alcoholics who committed suicide. Then he compared Catholics and Protestants and found that among the Protestants there are more cases of suicide. Then he compared married and unmarried people, and then he found that more suicide is committed unmarried men. That is because of they don't have anybody to talk to, the sense of alienation. You can still relate it with Marx when you talk about this. So, and he found that solidarity was present in the side of those cases where suicides were less. Solidarity is one concept which led people to commit less suicide. So then you will say Emile Durkheim proved that if suicide can be studied objectively, because it is the most subjective thing, but if that can be studied objectively using rules of explanation, then anything can be studied objectively. So his biggest contribution is both his methodology and the subject matter, and therefore is rightly called the pioneer in sociology. So this is how you will study every thinker. So I took a particular thinker and explained a particular concept from a particular thinker to make you understand how you will be proceeding with it. And so I was saying that when you read every thinker, you just got to have a crux of what the thinker is trying to say. For example, when you take another example I will give, Auguste Comte. Auguste Comte mainly wants you to study the patterns in the society. He feels that if you study the patterns in the society and the pattern change, you will be able to understand the social change. So this is the crux of Auguste Comte. And when you take Weber wants you to study social actions. He means that every individual exhibits action, and that action has to be interpreted and that action has to be studied. So this is the crux of Weber. So for every thinker, don't feel that it is very voluminous. Just try to understand the crux of what the thinker tries to say. This will come after reading the entire thing, but makes a crux of this thinker and apply it then and there so that you can fit it in any question that comes across. Just a minute. Yes, so I see. If you want to ask any questions now, you can ask. I will take a break for now to take in your questions, and then I will continue whatever I want to say. Yes. How to start basic sociology strategy, ma'am. That is how what I have been discussing. Start with the syllabus. Try to understand the crux of the syllabus. Start with the first chapter, then bring an overview about what all the chapter deals with. Say first chapter is discipline, so it is just three things: Renaissance, Revolution, Industrial Revolution, French and American Revolution. So how are you going to interpret? First, make a framework of what you want to study, and then you start studying, because otherwise it will be very voluminous to study. Yes. Please give some guidelines about prelims. Prelims, I have already made a session about general preparation for prelims, but if you want to give me a general guideline, I would say start solving questions, start taking marks, but don't go for too much of marks. From now you can take 6-7 marks. And one thing very important is that for prelims, whatever questions you solve, it is very important for you to come and check the answers and study the explanations, so as to understand where you went wrong, how did you go correct, how was it correct, how was it not correct, and then restricting the materials and doing revision as many number of times as possible. And this is not the actual time to make notes, but I would say if you are appearing for next prelims or something, start making your own notes, and that is how it helps. Even from Lakshmikant, if you, how many times you read Lakshmikant, I think it will be new for you and it will be voluminous to if you cover if you don't have notes. So make your own notes. So one thing about prelims is start solving questions, mocks. Then once you solve the mocks, come back and read the explanation, do as many revisions as possible, restrict the material. So this would be my overall guideline about prelims. Yes. We want sociology current affairs, ma'am, and how to find it. Yeah, I've made some current affairs examples. This is not the entire current affairs, but an approach to current affairs. Okay. So I'm just taking things from yesterday's question paper. So this is not question paper, newspaper. And basically I've got Kerala's newspaper. I'm right now in Trivandrum, so I've got Kerala's newspaper, Hindu newspaper, or whatever, Indian Express or whatever you want to read. But I'm saying that the news pertains to local area. So for example, a particular bank's union went on union strike yesterday. So how this is see, the thing is, you're asking me how to incorporate current affairs. Current affairs is whatever things which are happening around you, how are you going to put that or fit that into your syllabus? So that is what matters. Okay. So this is the particular concept that I've taken. This is basically a union strike by the bank. This is a common thing that you see everywhere, right? So when you read the newspaper, you might not be thinking about how to incorporate it in sociology, but every single thing that you find in the newspaper can be, incorporated into sociology. So with respect to this union strike, where all can you use it? In second paper, when they ask about, you can bring marks in this. You can say that why do they do strikes? One is for excessive office hours, and this particular strike is for transfer of the employees, vindictive transfer of the employees is what is mentioned in paper. So first thing, that concept you can bring is alienation. If officers start working for more excessive hours, so what happens is that they don't have the social relationship gets hampered, their family or friends they are not able to spend time with. And what is alienation? Marx concept of alienation. You are very different from the product. You make the product, but you're never part of the product. You're part of the product, but doesn't mean but the benefits of the product are not applicable to you. So when you start working for any organization, if they extract and they start being so exploitative, then there's a sense of alienation that you start from the organization, which makes you protest against the organization. So that is one thing. Alienation you can relate it with here. And so this particular transfer is about strike is about vindictive transfer of employees, which means, for example, I'm an employee and they're transferring me to some place. There is also a lot of power play involved in this. If you have a lot of influences, you can easily get transfer. If you don't have influences, you cannot get transfers easily. So there is this concept of arbitrary transfer which comes into place without following the rules and regulations. So employees may be protesting against. So in this, you will bring in power relate concept. You will say that, I'm just giving an overview, bring in the power relate concept. You can bring Marx into this, and then you can talk about how family becomes dysfunctional because the members of the family are not able to pay enough attention to the family. And then you can bring the Marx concept of class in itself to class for itself. And most of the employees are class in itself because they belong to a certain class. All of them are employees, but they become a class for themselves when they start understanding, when they start being aware of what they are going through, and they start protesting against it. So this kind of union strikes can be related to alienation. This can be related to power elite. Then this can be related to class in itself, class for itself, of Marx concept, and stratification based on class or work. So all these things. And one more example I would say, yesterday's newspaper I saw, there was a recent video, fake video, which was being circulated in the southern states, where it was found that the migrant workers from the northern states were beaten by the native people. But it was basically a fake video. So how will you incorporate this in your current affairs? It might be a very common thing. That you see in newspaper, but you will not be knowing how to incorporate that in your sociology. So that is why I'm saying that be very prepared with the syllabus. Go word by word to the syllabus, and every current affairs that you start seeing in your newspaper, try to see how it can be fitted in. For example, this migrant controversy, you can put it under this one, regionalism. So how regionalism is creating a distinct antagonism between people of one state and people of another state. Regionalism comes into picture. You can write it there. Then poverty, how poverty makes an exclusion. Poverty makes people migrate from one state to the other in search of their jobs for their livelihood. Then you can again write about alienation. I think Marx concept, you can fit it anywhere. Alienation, because they leave their home place or state, they come to another state, they don't have any contacts, they are alienated. And one more thing is social media as a tool for social change. This you can, migrant controversy of fake video, you can say how social media can be used as a tool for social change. Science, there is this chapter, one chapter called as, let me say the chapter. The chapter name, Science, Technology and Social Change. Science, Technology and Social Change, or Social Change in Modern Society. There you can say, with the advent of technology and social media, there has been a lot of revolutions. There have been a lot of good things. So on the other hand, if fake videos like this are circulated through social media, then social change is going in a negative way. So this is not going in a positive way. So those kind of things you can incorporate. So I think, Anjali, I try to answer your question with respect to incorporating current affairs. Okay. Good morning. Do you have any sociology current affairs, ma'am? That's what I said. You can see the newspaper, you can see the syllabus word by word, and you have to make, you have to fit the current affairs into the syllabus everywhere. That is why I told these two examples of migrant laborers and union strike of a bank. Okay. Ancient India, somebody has asked me what source for ancient, medieval, modern India. See, for history, I had my own notes from when I went for coaching classes, I made my own notes from there. So I used to study that only. Generally, people prefer reading NCERT or Spectrum, but honestly speaking, I have not read NCERT for history. I have read for geography, but I have not read for history. Yes. So other than this, if you have any doubts, I have my Instagram page through which I regularly take questions and answer for aspirants. So it is you can send your questions there. Sindhukavi MRIRS, Sindhukavi SINDHUKV MR capital MR and IRS. So that is my social handle, Instagram handle. You can whatever doubts you have there, you can send me, so that then and there I may not be able to then and there, if you ask me every 5 minutes, I may not be able to answer. But then cumulatively, over the day, I take questions, and most of the things I try to answer. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me in Instagram, my page, or in Facebook, or whatever it is. So that is the thing. And next question. Ma'am, sociology option strategy. This is a strategy. I think there is no strategy that can be sent in a single sentence. You have to see the entire video to understand the strategy. If you want me to still say in a single line or in a very short way, I would say understand the syllabus. Every word of the syllabus, match it with the current affairs. The example that I said is a very good one. Good one in the sense I'm not saying it is a great one, but it's a very easy to understand. This union strike that I said, or migrant laborers, how do you incorporate that in your syllabus? You can go through the video again for how to incorporate that. So that is a very simple example that I quoted for you to understand. And yes, I went for offline coaching. I'm from Chennai, so basically I went for coaching in Chennai. Sociology, I did it from a particular institution in Chennai called Shivarajvel IAS. So I did sociology there. And so one more thing, if you want to ask how to write keywords, this sociology 300 words and 150 words. Yes, very good question. So for that, I will share a particular example. See, for when you take marks, what happens is there are certain keywords when you talk about class in itself, class for itself, pauperization. So these kind of keywords have to be incorporated in every answers that you make. Yes, very good question. Thank you for asking. For every thinker, while you study them itself, make a separate note of the keywords that they say. For example, Marx says class in itself, class for itself. So you can use it in any protest, any strike. You can even in paper 2 you can put this, saying that Marx was said that the workers, unless and until they are aware about their problems, they are a class in itself. And once they start understanding their problems and they come together to protest against it, they become a class for itself. So these are the words that should be kept in mind. And when it comes to Emile Durkheim, he talks a lot about social facts and so social facts. So for every thinker, while you study itself, make keywords. Initially, when you make for one thinker itself, you will get 50 keywords, but then you can start refining it, which can you use very frequently. Then another thinker also I can say, just a minute, let me see, for example. For August Comte, it is about pattern change leading to societal change. So that is pattern change is the keyword for him. So for every thinker, you have to make a keyword, put a thinker's name, put keywords under it, start refining it, and that's how you make use of the keywords. For me, it is symbolic interpretation. So you have to make for every thinker like that. Thinkers for paper 2. So you've been asking thinkers for paper 2. One thing is to use the thinkers that you the standard thinkers like Marx or Weber or Mead or things. So those people you can again repeat it in paper 2. But apart from that, if you want to go for Indian thinkers, not thinkers but research people, I would say that would do value addition. So for that, what I used to do it, there used to be EPW magazine. So in EPW magazine there will be lot of research papers. You can't read it, don't go for the entire magazine and sit there. If you see the magazine, if you take a research paper, there will be an abstract in the starting. So that abstract itself will give you an understanding about what they have discussed in a particular paper. For example, there's a researcher called Rajni Kothari. He says that caste and politics are twin together. You cannot separate both. So for that, you have to go through research papers like EPW, or there will be a lot of telegram channels also. And like this institution that I said today, where I studied sociology, they themselves have a telegram channel. So there will be a lot of telegram channels where they will be putting current affairs in sociology. In that they will be mentioning about research articles. So one thing I would say is EPW is one good source where you will get a lot of research articles pertaining to the Indian context, and you can mention them. Don't read the entire EPW, you won't have time. Just go through the abstract and you will be, I can say an example, just a minute. Let me search and tell you. I'm not getting any thinkers thing as of I have to go inside and see, which will take time. So as I said, one thing, Rajni Kothari is one example. Then there will be some marginal man which will be said by somebody. I had a book of the thinkers which I'm not finding it right now. If I find it later, definitely I will ask the channel to put it in that page. So one EPW article I'm taking to just make you understand superstitions. So in EPW, there is one article about just a minute. I'm not getting the name of the author. I will share it when I get it. But generally, if you want to ask for thinkers, whatever thinker you have studied in the first paper, those standard people, and then EPW sources, whatever you see. And generally if you go through any institutes material also, they will be mentioning a lot of thinkers for religion or caste or whoever it is. So those things you can make use of it. I'm just trying to tell you if I have something. I'm not finding anything right now. Just a minute. There will be, if you take this things of protest and all, environmental protest and all, there will be one research person or one person called Vandana. I forgot the name. So okay, I will see and tell. This might take time, so I will see and tell. Yes. How to reduce pressure in exam? How many thinkers are necessary for each topic in paper 1 and 2? See, it is good to have as many thinkers as possible. It shouldn't be 100 thinkers because you will not be able to remember everything. So as I said, for every thinker, you should understand the crux. Vandana Shiva, I think. Yeah, I think so. So for every thinker, for example, if you're talking about religion, then you can have some basic thing. Religion means obviously Immanuel Durkheim will come into place, Marx will come into place. Immanuel Durkheim, you will talk about this sacred and profane. Then when you talk about Marx, you will say that religion is the opium of the masses. Then you can talk about Weber also, like Protestant ethics and the thing. So basic thinkers you can bring in, and other than that, whatever you read from EPW or something. So what happens is in paper 2, when you start writing a particular theory, so you can, as I said, introduction, then definition of that, then the basic concept, then when it comes to the criticism part, you can mention what the foundational thinkers like Immanuel Durkheim or Marx or whatever they say, and some new researchers or new age thinkers now who say. So basically for one question can be 4 or 5 thinkers, but if you do it excessively also without any other content, that might be like you've studied only this. So just some in the criticism part, just 4 or 5 thinkers, but it should be in a single line. The examiner should be able to understand in a single line. Okay, Bharati, after that, this is time management, how to handle exam. Sorry, I didn't understand your question, Bharati. Your question puriyala enakku. How to reduce pressure in exam? How to reduce the pressure? I think it's about revising only, and this is a very I think even if I appear for examination today, even I might feel the pressure. So there is nothing, what to say, it's not unnatural. If you are a serious aspirant, you will face pressure. But then it's all about the prior work that you do. You have to revise, you have to prepare. So despite that, if you give your best and whatever happens, rest is for the rest to happen. You cannot do anything about it. The pressure is there for everybody. Even if you ask me to write exam today, I will definitely feel some pressure, but to what extent is what that matters. So don't feel unnatural if you feel pressurized. It's common, but if you want to asking about pressure in exam all specifically, I would say plan your thing. As soon as main thing that arises, because we will not be planning on how to do the time management. So as soon as you see the question paper, for 2-3 minutes you strategize as which question you're going to write first, how much time you are going to allocate for it. So strategize first as to how you will be dividing the question paper, and then proceed. If you don't plan initially and you start directly writing, then that's how you face pressure due to time. So I would say strategize initially, mentally allocate some time. Okay, for this question I'll be taking this much time, this I'll be doing it. So generally what I do is, when I do answer writing, I will just for every question 30-40 seconds, I will first make a crux of the question, the side by side question paper, then I will start writing, so that I get a flow of what I'm writing. I think I have answered your question, Hamid Parashar. Yes, ma'am, these days that questions are reducing, complex questions are increasing. How to deal with them? That is the thing. See, you can never predict UPSC. One year they may be asking direct questions, 1 year they may be asking indirect questions. Only thing is that you can, I would say, try seeing different question papers of this institutes and all, because I'm not saying start writing it, but try to see the questions alone. Take questions of different institutes, this coaching institutes, and see how have they tried to rephrase very small question, very basic concept. It may be very basic concept like sacred or profane, but it may be put into a different way, as in the purity and pollution. It might be rephrased. So how are they rephrasing questions? Try to read the questions from different coaching institutions so as to understand what is being rephrased in a particular way. So when you start reading questions and try to interpret, then you might have an idea about what they're trying to ask in the examination. One important thing mainly where we go wrong is that we might know the concept, but we might not understand that this is what they're trying to ask in the UPSC question. So it is all about going through as many number of questions and trying to interpret, okay, this is what this question is, I should write this for this. While studying multiple subjects, feeling missing of low and forgot the key concepts, how to revise and remember. Put a timetable for different subjects. Don't mix and put everything together. I used to schedule for 1 week I will study this morning, I will study this for evening. Not a long term schedule, but a short term schedule. 1 week I will study this that. So put a timetable and study. That's how you can avoid mixing of thoughts. Then while studying, yes, who plays main role in examination, UPSC exam? Everybody plays a main role. I think everybody, you play a main role in your UPSC exam. The rest is for the, it depends on which stage you are in. When it comes to prelims and mains, it is in your hands. When it comes to interview, I think it's also in your hands and the both's hand, whether what kind of questions they want to ask you. But if you ask me generally, I would say it is all about you. How many questions needed to be solved before going to the exam? Are you asking about prelims or Raghavendra? Are you asking about prelims or mains? Yeah, and I think I will try to take up a few more questions, but may not be able to answer everything. So you can ask me in my Instagram or Facebook page. Instagram is Sindhukavi MRIRS, Sindhukavi MR_IRS. So you can ask me in that. Yes. I'll take up just few more questions and wind up. While studying multiple, I've answered that, ma'am. How many questions needed to be solved before going to exam hall? See, I wouldn't say this many questions or that many questions, but I would say equally distributing, taking up the concepts. For example, if you study thinkers too much and then you don't give importance to second paper at all, no, it's not like that. You should be giving equal distribution to first paper, second paper, and it's not about the number of questions, it's about understanding the concepts. Questions I said because you said questions are not asked directly, but they are asked in a complex way. So I said just go through the questions. So it's not like you must read this many questions or that many questions. One single thing may be rephrased and asked. So I just asked you to go through the questions of institutions so as to understand about how it is being rephrased. Yes. Any more questions? Good morning. मैम मेंस एग्जाम में आंसर कॉपी का फॉर्मेट कैसा रहता है क्या? क्वेश्चन और आंसर कॉपी का प्रिंट रहता है क्या मैम, या क्वेश्चन पेपर अलग रहता है? See, for every I wrote it before 4 years, so I don't exactly. There will be a standard format, like there will be like a marginated one with a paper with a margin. You will have to write inside it. Answer sheet is different from the question. They'll give you a separate question paper also. I don't remember if the question is exactly printed on the answer sheet. I don't remember it. But that doesn't matter for you, right? Whether it is printed or it is not printed, you will. Ma'am, last question on prelims: how to deal with science and technology questions? Any particular science and technology? The thing is, so there are certain areas where how much ever you study, you cannot predict from where they will ask. So science and technology is one thing, art and culture is one thing. So generally it is about the current affairs for science and technology. Generally people say to go and study your 6th standard, 7th standard NCERT and all, but I don't think this is the right time before prelims, because you just have 70 days for the prelims. So I wouldn't suggest going there. Go through the current affairs, take any consolidated material, whichever is comfortable for you. Generally people go for vision or insights or whatever it is, but I wouldn't recommend any particular thing. Whatever is comfortable, go for it and read the current affairs apart from that. But if you're having any doubt in the basic things, like say if you take PSLV or GSLV, then go for any just if you type in Google saying that PSLV, GSLV, UPSC, there are many pages where you get conceptual clarity. So main is current affairs, which you can take from the consolidated material of any institute. So any more questions? I think we will wind up soon. Sociology, I try to just tell whatever I can. So if you have any more questions, please you can ask me through my Instagram handle, Sindhukavi MRIRS. Otherwise, any other thing. Facebook also I rarely see, so you can ask me through that. I may not be able to answer then and there, but then definitely I will try to answer. Last question, ma'am, to how to cover previous year questions. Previous year questions are there. If you see the internet itself, it will be there. And apart from that, UPSC page itself has previous year questions and all. So you can go and see in there. And I think they have the answer keys also, so you can see that. Previous year questions is to just understand the pattern of how questions are being asked, but you can never rely on that and say that UPSC this year will ask only from that thing. It's never that. So okay, so any other questions? I'll just wait for a few seconds, and if there's no questions, I'll wind up. Okay then. So thank you for listening to the session, and if you have broad prelim strategy, as I said, try solving questions. Now I think many institutes are having 75-day revision plans, 70-day revision plans and all. I think they'll put 10-20 questions. Try to solve it. This question solving is basically for understanding how to eliminate. It's not the same question will be asked in the examination. So basically this is to understand whether you're good at eliminating the options or not. So try to solve those kind of questions which are being put up by the coaching institutions, say in a prelims revision plan or something. It's just not about solving the questions, but also going back to the solution and checking the solution as to understand where you've gone wrong, how you can rectify it. One thing, that is solving question papers, then seeing the answer keys, and revising, keep revising. And if you're reading current affairs from a single source, restrict it to single source. I mean to say that if you're reading science and technology from a particular institute, you can read from it. Don't read 2-3 magazines for that same subject. Restrict the resource. Say one, if for example you're studying economics from one institute, history from some other institute, you can do that. But for one subject, refer one source is what I'm trying to mean. And revision, that is the main thing. And one more thing, take some mock paper and try fixing time, say 2 hours or something, and then start attempting it. Because what happens is generally we may know the answers for it, but once you go to the UPSC exam, out of pressure, what you do is you don't start seeing the question paper fully. I've done this in many of my attempts. What I do is initially I will spend too much time on the first part of the paper. Second part might be easy and might be the questions that I already know, but then due to time constraints and the pressure, I will not be able to handle it. So just flip through the paper very fastly to see whether any questions that you know have been asked, and then fix time. First 25 questions I will solve in half an hour. So fix time for it so that you can go for iterations in the question paper. If you don't know any answers, don't spend too much time on it. Go for the next question, then in the next iteration or something you can solve. And coming to the negative marking, depends on your thing. Generally for me, I attend 83 to 85 questions like this. Some people attend 97, 99 questions. So it is about like when you attend mocks, you'll get an idea, right, where whether you are touching the cutoff or not. So trying to reduce the negative marks, that is one important thing. Don't attempt too much, don't attempt too less. Go for the optimum. How many years previous back question paper? I think 4 or 5 years you can do. That is what I'm saying. It is for our satisfaction and to get an understanding about which area they are asking. Sometimes they might ask too many questions from medieval India. Sometimes it's too much from art and culture. Sometimes it's from environment. So you can never predict. It's just to get a fair idea, but there's no assurance that here also UPSC will follow the same thing. Okay. So thank you so much, and I hope I've tried to answer most of your questions. And if you have any other doubts, please feel free to ask your doubts in my Instagram handle, Sindhukavi MRIRS. And and if you have any other questions regarding sociology also or prelims also, you can ask me there. I will try to answer most of the questions if time permits, and that's how it is. So, and thank you so much, and all the best for prelims. And thank you so much.